welcome back to the City's channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. We have a History Boys special today, the first part in this one, and it's a little feature we're going to call City Bravehearts. So, yeah, let me have a think what that's about. Obviously, it's about players north of the border who've come down and played for City, of course. So, this is a brand new feature. This is the first one. Obviously, we'll have Scottish number nines, we'll have Scottish centre halves that'll feature in my little Citizen special, History Boy specials, of course. But I just thought this was sort of just as a sort of new addition, if you like. So today we're going to look at, well, what a great start. I mean, one of the best ways of starting a guy called Asa Hartford. Please, if you're new to this channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications. We know these vlogs are coming out. I do all City stuff, past, present, and forever, I call it. So please give us your support. It'd be much appreciated. Spread the word, guys, as well. And thumbs ups are always appreciated. Make an old City fan very, very happy. And please check out the other parts to this as well. Right, so let's have a look at Asa Hartford. And he's just a summation of his career before he came to City. He was born Richard Asa Hartford on the 24th of October 1950, Clydebank, Scotland. Asa's dad, his hero was Al Jolson. Now that's where Asa gets his name, because apparently Al Jolson's real name was Asa. I do have a cousin called Asa as well, who's obviously his dad is a big City fan. So I think probably a few lads called Asa around that time as well. He first played for Drumchapel Amateurs in Glasgow, but began his professional career at West Bromwich Albion in 1967 after becoming an apprenticed professional in April 1966. He made his debut on the February 10th, 1968 as a right winger at Bramall Lane in a 1-1 draw with Sheffield United. Yeah, the old cricket pitch then at that time. Let's say Asa could be a little feisty. We still witnessed that when he came to City. And when playing in the second leg of an FA Youth Cup semi-final for West Brom, he got himself sent off. And West Brom went on to lose that 6-3. So he wasn't very popular off the pitch for that little thing. And it would sort of haunt him throughout his career just a little bit. He did bring it under control, but we'll talk about that later. His first team goal came against somebody called Manchester United, apparently, in a 6-3 win at the Hawthorns. And despite numerous trials, he actually failed to get into the Scottish boys team. What did they miss there? Though he was able to make many appearances for the Scottish youth team, the under-21s, the under-23s, and of course the full Scottish team. During his time at West Brom, the team won the 1968 FA Cup final, although he didn't actually play in the final itself. They were beaten FA Cup semi-finalists in 1969 and reached the League Cup final in 1970, beaten, of course, by us. Tony Buck was first impressed there by him, and he mentioned that in the future, by this battling midfielder. In defence of Hartford, he'd actually been subbed in that game, so he wasn't on the pitch. West Brom were actually leading 1-0 whilst he was on the pitch. As soon as he went off the pitch, we turned it around, of course, and won 2-1. The big thing with Asa Hartford, most of you will know, was this proposed transfer worth about £170,000 to Don Revie's. Almost, but on its way, mighty Leeds at the time in November 1971 when this was cancelled. The Leeds doctor specialists finding that Hartford had a hole in his heart, a condition during a pre-transfer medical examination. The move at the time, Asa didn't need much convincing of joining Leeds and said he was really chuffed. He joined the Leeds lads a couple of days after, and then after training he was taken around various specialists. There was a problem. On the day of what was to be his Leeds debut, he had to see one more specialist, and he just knew something was wrong. Don Revie informed him of the heart findings and that the deal was off. Within a week, devastated, of course, he was back available to play for West Brom as their specialist confirmed the findings, but acknowledged it was not a problem to him playing football. He did indeed have a hole the size of a pinhead that would not affect him in the future, as it hadn't up until that point, of course. He admitted for a couple of years after it was tough on his mind, despite the assurances given, as some nights he just lie in bed, checking his heart, just feeling his heart, just obviously worrying about it. He hadn't worried about it before he had this medical. He'd wished he'd never found out, but eventually it never affected him professionally or away from football. But I say it did play on his mind for quite a time after that. In July 1973, he made it clear that he did wish to move to play a higher level. And over 12 months later, in August 1974, Hartford moved on to, yes, Manchester City for a fee of somewhere in the region of £210,000 to £250,000. And of course, there was no other medical problems evidence to stop this going through. For West Brom, he played 206 games plus 7 as a substitute with 18 goals. So he's never prolific as a goal scorer. And on the 13th of August 1974, Asa Hartford joined City. On the 17th of August, only 4 days later, in the opening home game of the 74-75 season, the diminutive Scot played his first game for City at number 10, which would be his regular number in the future, in a 4-0 home win at Main Road against West Ham in front of 30,240. So why did we sign him? Why did City sign this guy with a hole in his heart that Leeds had shunned wrongly, of course? In the second home game of the season, on the 21st of August, a game against Spurs, Tony Buck explained the reasoning behind the move in his Talking Soccer column in the Matchday programme. So I'll just read out this excerpt from this. The first major signing, the vital one to rebuilding plans I have is in mind for City, is now behind us. The arrival of Asa Hartford is what the team has needed. I would go so far as to say he's the type of player we could have done with even at the peak of some of City's triumphs. And now that the fuss about the club making its third 200,000 plus forward capture is beginning to subdue, we can get down to the serious work of correcting the problems which have been developing and threatening to hold back our progress. I introduced Asa to the news media last week as my first piece of gold. That was not flattery aimed at settling him down quickly and giving the newspapers a lavish headline. He's going to be a key figure in planning, and since I liken him to Billy Bremner as a midfield dynamo, a lad who never knows when to quit, I am highly contented at the value of money we have paid for him. Yes, even at the sizable price which had to be paid, that's real gold. Many people were pointing that something up front urgently required attention, and I readily agree that I've got to be out putting the ball in the net. Yes, I firmly believe that the talent which has been required at Main Road has been a person to put his foot on the ball, somebody to dictate from midfield, in other words, an Asa Hartford. Even when I was playing, I felt we needed the style of player in the side. He's a lad of great vision, great control, can put his personality on the game, has got an immense competitive attitude. He wants to be a winner, and I want that calibre of player with those single-minded thoughts on my staff. I witnessed sufficient in the pre-season preparation games to leave me with a feeling near enough to certainty what is needed to rebuild City. This was the reason for prompt action. When you get the types of disappointing results like we had in the Texaco Cup competition, it gives a warning that attention has to be given to restructuring part of the policy or suffer the consequences and risk the kind of slide that often happens to teams that require additional parts to keep functioning properly and don't heed the signs. Having played for many years with virtually all of the staff, I must admit that my thoughts as a manager had taken shape before we embarked on the games with Blackpool, Sheffield United and Oldham in the Texaco competition. But I wanted to look hard and long from my new angle as manager to have those opinions rubber stamped or reshaped. The situation is quite close to my earliest opinions. However, as a spectator, I recognise a difference in several aspects of the game compared to the views I held while playing. It came home to me hard how really difficult it is for strikers in the modern mood. As a player and a defender, I thought the game were easier if strikers were just moving about all the time. As an observer, I now realise it is difficult for front men to get in these positions because of the number of defenders who crowd the spaces. Apart from new views like this, which have opened up to me, I believe I got down to the priorities with the signing of Asa Hartford. Obtaining a player of this nature is a great start to any rebuilding process. So there you go, clear from Tony Buck what part he thought Asa Hartford would play in the team. As we said before, he didn't score a lot of goals. He managed his first of 2 goals that season in this Spurs game there. I just quoted that Tony Buck wrote the piece for the Matchday programme. It was a 1-0 win and he scored the only goal in that game. What did the fans think? Did the fans take to him? Well, his battling attitude meant he became an immediate fan favourite. Of course he did, although he'd only fall foul of the refs on occasion throughout his career. His first ban came early in October 1974 after being sent off in a home 1-1 draw with Chelsea on October the 5th. In fairness to Hartford, Geordies' time at City did reasonably well as far as discipline is concerned, though it never tempered that competitive spirit of this, 5'7" midfielder. Asa himself was quoted as saying, "The fans have made my job easier already by the way they have welcomed me to Main Road. I'm made up with the kind of reception I've got. I'm desperate to do well at City. I hope for immediate success, and I think playing with such great players as Bell, Marsh, Stewart make my job easier." Although City's season ended fairly average after a promising start, Ace was definitely one of the standouts, and that was despite his wife Joy informing us in a Woman Behind the Star feature, 22nd of February 1975 against Birmingham in the matchday programme, that he was being bothered by a thigh injury for most of the season. He played through the pain until he was forced to have 2 small operations to solve the problem. His stats for the 74-75 season: 29 starts in League One, as in league. 79 starts in the league, one as substitute, scoring 2 goals. His second goal was at the Bridge on the 12th of April in a 1-0 win over Chelsea. He actually made 1 FA Cup appearance and 1 League Cup appearance. The 75-76 season, this was no doubt Ace's best season as far as goal scoring was concerned. He managed 12 in all competitions. He was an ever-present in 9 League Cup ties, helping City to a League Cup victory, of course, scoring 2 goals on the way, including 1 in a 4-0 League Cup win over United on November the 12th. Most of us will remember that game for other reasons. His league goals: 4th of October against Arsenal away. A very rare trip, very rare victory at Arsenal, 3-2 win, and my first trip there. 4th of October, 3-2 win. On the 29th of November, he scored against Wolves. He scored a brace in a 4-0 win at Wolves. He was outstanding in February and March, scoring in 4 consecutive league games and picking up a League Cup winners' medal as well during this run. 7th of Feb, scored in a 2-1 win at home to Villa. 14th of February, Birmingham away, he scored in a 2-1 loss. 21st of February, Everton at home, he scored in a 3-0 win. And he scored another brace on March 6th against Sheffield United at home in a 4-0 win. And on the 24th of April, so just over a month later, against Arsenal, he scored in a 3-1 win. His season stats: 39 appearances, none as sub, and 9 goals. Not too shabby. In the FA Cup, he played twice, no sub appearances, and 1 goal. That was against Hartlepool on January the 3rd in a round 3 match, which we won 6-0. In the League Cup, 9 appearances in the League Cup, as we said. None as sub, 2 goals, and as well as the United goal he scored, which mentioned, he also scored on December the 3rd against Mansfield at home in a 4-2 win. So who were his non-footballing heroes? Just away from football. I mean, away from football in December, there was a programme feature regular throughout that season, and Asa was asked who he admired. He had to name 3 people, so he asked players and etc. all season. And the 3 people he named as that he admired were Chris Bonington, the mountaineer, though Asa did state at the time he had no aspirations to climb mountains. He just got vertigo just looking up at Joe Corrigan. Gary Player, the golfer, and people of a certain age will remember the South African. He said he always appeared to be enjoying himself, and that's what he admired, as well as his abilities. And his number one people he personally admired was the entertainer Sammy Davis Jr., who he classed as an entertainment genius. He was an integral part of that season's Division 1 runners-up City, starting 40 of the 42 league games, with new boy Kiddo being the top scorer. Asa managed just 4 league goals. Sadly, the 2 games he missed were through suspension at a key part in the title chase, missing Derby and Villa away, and we managed to only pick up 1 point. That, in the end, was the difference, really, between winning and losing the title. We lost the title by 1 point. We could have picked up another 3 there. He himself cited those 2 games missed as his most sorrowful part of 1977. He scored 4 goals. They came on October the 2nd, a goal in a 4-2 home win against West Ham. October the 5th, Everton away, a 2-2 draw. Borough at home on April the 11th, a 1-0 win. And May the 7th at home, a 5-0 win against Spurs. He also made his first appearances in Europe for City, making 2 appearances, his debut being the 1-0 win over Juventus. I missed that. I was in Italy at the time, believe it or not, guys. So typical me. I mean, when we played over in Italy, I was back in England. A 1-0 win over Juventus in the UEFA Cup on the 15th of September. He made 1 League Cup appearance and 4 appearances in the FA Cup. And Tony Buck summing up of a season in which we came so close to a title. He simply said of Asa, right at the bottom of his little column on 76-77, I could not close my first team comments without remarks about Asa Hartford. Of course, I could say nothing more flattering than when he plays well, the team plays well. That's it. Asa said of himself in the 76-77 season, just looking at the summary, this is what he thought of his own little season. He said his most impressive opponents were Ipswich. His best City performance was Leeds United away. His team for the future, Ipswich Town. Yeah, good judgment. Charlie George was his best opposing player, and Glenn Hoddle of Spurs was his most promising player he'd faced. So he knew his stuff, obviously. And he said on his memorable moments, that incredible run of 17 games without defeat in mid-season, which had its highlight with our display at Leeds when we really hit the peak of that form. And his disappointment losing in the FA Cup at Leeds in the last couple of minutes, even though we didn't play very well, I thought we could have scrambled a draw and would have fancied us in the replay. I thought we'd have a good run in the FA Cup this season. So there you go. That was the end of 76-77. Join me in part 2, where we'll look forward to 1977-78 with our City Braveheart Asa Hartford. Thanks for watching, guys. Please let me know your memories. Let me know your comments. It'd be great to hear from you. Until the next time, thanks for watching, Blues. Come on, City. Bye for now.